Welcome to the Daily Spell. This is Reverend Mary Hawk and my special guest, Brian Ellicott, and this is Tarot Thursday. So, we are here to talk about tarot, and we'll be happy to do many readings for you. So, if you have a question, go ahead and post it in chat. We'll be happy to take your questions. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. And how are you tonight, Brian?
Doing well. Excited to be back once again.
And I'm so happy to have you with me again. And what deck are you reading with tonight?
I'm reading with the Antique Anatomy Tarot.
All right.
So it's Pip style with antique anatomy images and just simple imagery, but it's fun.
Okay. So we are ready if you want to post a question. We have pretty much recovered from last weekend's telethon. Pretty much. Hey, Michael, good to see you.
Hey, Mike.
How are you? And I've got Hella, my faithful hound, looking at me. Hi, Hella Bella.
Elvis is not interested this evening.
And
hi, Samantha.
Hey, Samantha. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Cadware. How are you? How did all the wood burning go?
Wood burning?
Yes. Cadware had posted that he was doing a lot of wood burning.
Oh.
And he would be selling the items in his store.
Interesting. We don't get to do much of that in New York City. We're not allowed.
You really can't have a wood burner in your apartment?
No.
Wow.
No open flames or even and most of the chimneys here have been sealed up. So they're purely for decoration and altar use.
Yes. Well, he was doing the kind of etching with a
tool.
Are you not allowed to do that in New York City?
No. I can there are some places that you're allowed to do it, like hobby spots, but not in your home.
Wow.
Yep. Because other people close by, so if you
Yes, you start a fire.
That kind of thing.
And Cardware says one of his burner nubs snapped, so he's on halt with that and working on jewelry.
That's fun.
Well, at least you're staying busy. Fluffy, how are you?
Hi, Fluffy.
So, does anyone have a question for us?
I think Elvis only wants to know if it's time for cans.
Is it time for cans?
Not till after the stream.
Okay. Elvis is Brian's cat. Glad you're good, Fluffy. So I'll ask you this question. Someone asked me during our psychic show, what is the most profound experience you've had doing a reading?
Oh, believe it or not, the last telethon, I got to give a reading to Mike Neal. And if you know Mike Neal, you know that Mike Neal also facilitates the Indigo Door program of the Correllian tradition.
Right.
So basically, it was like the student reading for the teacher, kind of thing. Only I'm not I've been studying tarot for a really long time, but it was very affirming to have someone be like, okay, whatever it is you've done and whatever else it is you've learned, like keep doing that.
Awesome.
Like not he basically was like, it's working, whatever you do works, and if someone tells you otherwise, do not listen to them.
Wow, that would be, yeah, I would be very nervous trying to read for Lord.
And then I've had other experiences where I don't know if this has ever happened to you, where you're like reading in like a bar or some like nightlife establishment or anything like that, and someone always is like, well, I don't know if this is real, prove me wrong, like do a reading and prove me wrong, and my cards and I are just like, okay, sure.
That happened to me once reading at a party. A guy hands me $10 and says, okay, let's see what you're made of. And I lay out my cards and I start telling him about his recent breakup, and he wound up fighting back tears. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, does anyone have a question for us? I mean, we can swap tarot stories all night.
Actually, I do have a question for you. So, when you're not using the Infinite Tarot, what's your other favorite deck besides the one that Lord Don created?
Holly? Okay, can you still see me, Brian?
Yes, I can.
Because I just lost my main monitor. This is okay, it's back. This is
Hi, Holly.
very strange. Let me shove all my connections together. Okay. And Fluffy, I do see your question. Well, I read with a variety of decks depending on the question, is the answer.
Okay.
And I worked mostly with the Rider-Waite Smith, the Deviant Moon Tarot, and the Celtic Wisdom Tarot. Until I got the Infinite Tarot, and it hid the rest of my decks from me.
All right. So I pulled cards for Fluffy's question, which, by the way, coincidentally, no joke, I pulled the Hierophant. Are we? Yes, we are till the 14th, Holly. And I pulled the 10 of blades, which is the 10 of swords in this deck. So Fluffy, I do a lot of work with time frames with my tarot. So the number 10 it's either 10 weeks, 10 months, or 10 days, whatever sounds good to you with the number 10. But I'm leaning more towards 10 months to a year, that you're probably going to be leaning into that energy based on the fact that the card came first and the 10 came second.
All right, so I had 3 cards fall out as I was shuffling, Fluffy. First one is the 5 of Swords. So there is some chaos here, and you are still fighting through the energy of the Hanged Man. Next, I've got the Prince of Lamps. Lamps deals with spirituality, and the Prince of Lamps is about mastering your magic. So you're on the path. You're not there yet. And finally,
hi, Mary.
I pulled the Queen of Swords. Are you smirking, Brian?
Yes.
Fluffy smirking too. I can feel it from the other side of the country. He just said, ha, ha, ha. And since I commissioned this card, it specifically refers to overcoming obstacles, which you've been working through, Fluffy. Hi, Ed. Good to see you.
Howdy,
Yeah,
Ed.
I did not pull it, Fluffy. I told you. These three cards fell out while I was shuffling. So the answer to your question is you're working on it and you're not there yet. And you still got some stuff to fight through before you get there. So, hope that helps.
After Don gets settled in his new digs, I want to see if he'll make a card for me.
I'm sure he will be delighted.
It must be really awkward to pull your own card though, because even though I knew what it was, I was just like, "That's cute."
You know, my card said, and Fluffy's card said they wanted to be shuffled in. Samantha says, should I take off my ring and be done? So you're referring to ending your relationship here, right? And Renee will get to you after Samantha. And I'm making a point of shuffling all the way over the desk since the cards are jumping tonight and I don't want to go fish.
2 fish. After these questions, I will tell you my here fishy story. Would you like me to go first?
You may go first.
All right. Samantha, so the first card, I have 3 cards I pulled for you. The first card is the Knight of Rods. So taking action that feels right to you. The Page of Rods, which is also an action card, but a more submissive action card. And the Sun. So I would say do not take your ring off. Do not be done. There's something you want to continue working on and it's not finished yet. And it will take time, but it has the potential to work out. You have to do the hard work and have the difficult conversations.
Okay, so the first card I pulled is the Four of Pentacles. And this is a card in the material realm, but it is talking about a card of good fortune. Okay, I'm sorry. It looks like my system glitched. I am back now.
You've been here the whole time. That's so strange.
So did you see me the whole time?
Yes, ma'am.
My monitors keep going down. This is very odd. My next card is the Nine of Cups. And so this is saying that a good emotional outcome. And then I've got the Nine of Swords, which is throwing it off a little because there could be some heartache coming. So I'm going to say that you can create a good outcome if you want to here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a question from Renee. Hope that helps you, Samantha. And Renee says, do we see your family getting along? Or her family getting along, rather. And hello, Zoe.
Elvis is here.
Hi, Elvis. Elvis has entered the building.
Or the couch.
Hi, Daniel. Nice to see you. And Samantha, I am sorry. I have been there with a partner who was abusing. Okay, so
Mhm.
I feel your pain there. I have been there and I ultimately had to walk away because
Mhm.
he would not deal with it. And hello to my nephew, Corey. And yes, Elvis is awesome.
She tries.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right, you're next then, Corey. Just a moment. Okay.
All right.
So I have got the Six of Wands, and this is a card about cooperation. I've got the Four of Lamps. Lamps is spirituality in this suit. And this is about using your innate abilities for the betterment of the community. And finally, I've got Judgment. And Judgment is about wrapping up a project, finishing up something you've been putting a lot of energy into. So I'm going to say that overall, I do see your family getting along here, Renee.
So I pulled the Five of Elixirs, which is the Five of Cups. So right now, you took the step away because you felt it was best. I also pulled the Seven of Elixirs, which means it's your choice whether you want to interact with them or make that better relationship with them. Um, and at the end of the day, it's going to be up to all of you with all of the knives of whether you throw them at each other or you throw them away. So I would say you have a choice to make ultimately of how you want to proceed with that relationship or if you want to wait some time before you do that.
Okay, and did you want to answer Fluffy's question?
I actually do work with Janice Fluffy. I'm a member of the Temple of Adis Idas. And we work with Janice and Hecate. And I've been doing that actually even before that with other folks.
All righty.
Hi, DJ.
Hey, Deej. And okay, nephew, you're starting a new job on Monday. You're holding out again. All right, let's see what you are welcome, Renee. Back to Startup Live. Oh, nephew. All right, let's see what we see here for you.
Would you like me to go first?
You may.
So obviously you're starting a new job, so rebirth. Taking this as a new starting fresh and a new opportunity. Don't let other past experiences hinder going into this new opportunity. You'll be working a lot with a team or as a team. And I see victory and forward progress in this new job venture of yours. And don't let your auntie scare you. But that's not from the cards. That's from me.
All right, so I got the Prince of Lamps again. So this is about growing into your power, like I said. Then I got the Ten of Wands, and this is about a situation where the old is going away and something new is coming in. And then I've got the Seven of Pentacles, which is talking about starting something new. So it's like telling us what's going on. So one more card. And I've got the Seven of Cups. So you're going to have a lot of options with this new position. And it's going to be more of you picking what's best for you than anything else. So I think this is going to be good for you. All right. And Deej just wants to know if Spirit has a message for him. You're welcome, nephew.
No problem.
Hey, come out to Osiris Fest in Lebanon Saturday. I'm covering it for Pagan World TV.
This doesn't go towards my final grade, right, DJ?
Yes, I've heard about the protests at the Parthenon.
Ooh. You're going to take me to the Parthenon?
Yes, I'll take you to the Parthenon.
Woohoo!
All right. Hang on, let me do this reading, Corey.
Would you like to go first?
No, you can go first. I'm still laying out cards.
So I pulled 3 cards for you, DJ. Justice, which with this deck is thinking equally with your head and your heart, not one over the other. So either you're seem to be in a place where you're using one over the other. You need to equal the scales a little bit, my friend. The Queen of Coins. Do not be afraid to go after materially what you need and hustle for it. The Queen of Pentacles and Coins to me has always been that, like, kind of like a drag queen, not afraid to go get their coins by any means necessary. So go do that. And then the Wheel of Fortune, which means it also comes with some risks and some choices that need to be made in order to better your future. So do all of those things, but take into account what your heart and your head is saying at the same time. Hi, Lori.
Hey, Lori. So I've got the Four of Pentacles. I'm back to the same cards coming up. But this means being in a good position financially and being able to share. I've got Strength. So whatever challenges are coming your way, you have the ability to handle them. And finally, I've got Temperance. And this shows someone who is balanced between day and night, male and female, yin and yang. So this is about taking a balanced approach, again, between your head and your heart. So yeah, go for what you want. And back to my nephew Corey's remark, the protests are silly. For those who don't know, Corey and I live in Nashville. You can Google the Parthenon Nashville. That structure has stood since I forget the exact year, in the 1800s, but it was built to celebrate Nashville's 100th year. And since it is an exact, yes, quit overworking.
Yeah, that part. Let's do that.
It's an exact replica of the Parthenon in Athens. In 1990, a replica of the statue of Athena was added. It is most definitely a sacred space. Athena is there. Yes.
I think I saw pictures of it when Lady Lori and Chad came to visit y'all.
Yes, we went there, and Lord Don, and Sir Ed were with us, and we did a little prayer to Athena in front of the statue, and it was amazing.
Nice. All right.
And yes, when you come to Nashville, we will go to the Parthenon.
Got all my plans made.
All right. And Daniel wants to know, I'm looking for a partner for my artistic and musical projects. Any thoughts on attracting this individual? Alrighty. And you've been to the Parthenon, so you know how awesome it is. And Corey points out that our Parthenon and Athena are better than the original because ours is still standing.
Tomato, tomato, potato, potato.
All right, so Daniel, the first card I get is the 9 of Wands. So this means right now you're waiting. The person in the figure or in the card is in prison. But what this means is it's not quite time for you to meet this person. Next, we've got the Hanged Man, which is Odin hanging on Yggdrasil to receive the runes. So this is about putting in work towards what you want to receive. So I'm going to say put out some magic about attracting this individual. And then finally, we've got the 4 of Wands. And this is about a partnership. It's actually a wedding in the backstory of this card, but it could be any kind of partnership. So this is coming to you, but the time is not quite right.
So coincidentally, I pulled the Hangman as my first card as well. So very much like Mary, I feel like right now your art and your music are something you need to work on individually, and that a partner in the creative aspect is not meant for right now, because I also pulled the Ace of Elixirs. So maybe exploring a little more of your self-worth and your self-love towards your music and your art, and coming back to this later down the line.
All righty. Hope that helps, Daniel. And so, yes, if anyone happens to visit Nashville, the Parthenon should be high on a pagan's list of things to do. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? So you still got work to do, so continue to work on that, and I think your partner will appear when the time is right.
I concur. Tell me that's not like the cutest bottle.
Oh, that's just adorable. And you're very welcome, Daniel.
The 4 comes with arsenic, morphine, heroin, and cyanide.
I see. A card of great good fortune.
What could go wrong?
And does anybody else have any more questions for us this evening?
D7 says, take one vial, do not mix.
Of course.
It's the Antique Anatomy Tarot, Lori. It's the deck of my deck of the month this month because I change them up every month.
Oh, you asked me what decks I use when I'm not using the Infinite Tarot.
Yes.
I'll expand on that story for you. When I first got this deck, I was doing my daily card readings for myself, but I didn't feel ready to read for anyone else. And Fluffy wants to know, should I find an online part-time job just to pass the time? Or should I just relax and study? I feel like this is a one card.
Me too.
Me. You got the Two of Wands.
Same. You first.
With the Two of Wands, we have got someone looking off into the distance and dreaming about what they could make come to pass for themselves. So I'm gonna say it doesn't matter either way right now. What's your take, Brian?
No, I was gonna say it doesn't matter one or the other. Right now, it seems like you're at a mental impasse, if you were. You're comfortable financially. You don't need to. You could relax or study, or you could go do this job. I will say, do not do both. You will burn yourself out. But you know what? I'm just gonna relax and study. The Queen of Wands.
All right. Already started to shuffle.
Yep.
Anyway, so I was just working with the Infinite Tarot for myself, not reading for anyone else. And I get a phone call from a friend of mine, and she's just gotten some really bad news and she wants a reading. And she prefers to be read that I read for her with the Rider-Waite.
Okay.
So I go to the drawer where I keep my bag of tarot decks, and it's not there. And I'm like, wait a minute. I did a reading for someone else just a few days ago. I know I put my cards up and I look all around and I cannot find them. And she's on the phone freaking out. And I said, okay, look, I've got another deck. It's similar, but it's not the same. I can read from this deck for you. And so I read from her for her from the Infinite Tarot. And it worked. It did give the answer.
Interesting.
And my other deck stayed in timeout for quite some time until finally they showed up behind the piece of furniture they're supposed to be stored in.
Interesting.
But the Infinite Tarot has spoken. In fact, I sat down and had a talk with it. You know, I do prison ministry. And the women in the prison are only allowed to have the Rider-Waite
Yeah.
Smith deck. That's the only one they can order.
Yep.
And they wanted to study tarot, so they've been getting their decks in. And I've had a talk with my Infinite Tarot and explained to it that I am teaching the Rider-Waite Smith because I have no choice in the matter. You are welcome, Fluffy.
You're welcome.
So yes, but yes, I have explained it to the Infinite Tarot.
Yep.
I am required to do the Rider-Waite, so just calm down. I will continue to use you for readings.
Good night,
Thanks
Daniel.
for dropping by, Daniel. Have a great evening.
Thankfully, none of my decks are territorial, if you will.
I have never experienced that until I got this deck.
Well, I have my decks understand that one, I like to use them all. They all, some way or form, get their turn during the year. I sometimes use. There are decks that I use at home that I won't carry in my backpack to work. But I don't leave the house without a deck of cards because why would I? So yeah, none of my decks have like a territorial problem. What my decks do not like is to be questioned, to be insulted, or to have me insulted in their presence. But they don't feel the need to be the only deck that I use.
So you have a polyamorous relationship with your decks.
Pretty much.
Along with Mary, okay. Deej, we're just going to ask you to explain that.
Yourself, sir. And I also like to pair my decks together when I do my bullet journaling, which, if anybody knows me, knows that is one of my things. So this month, I paired the Green Witch Oracle with the Antique Anatomy Tarot because I like how they look. Here, I'm going to hold these up. Let's hope I don't wind up playing some 100-card pickup game.
Yes, I like those together.
Right.
All right.
How do you feel? I have a question while we're waiting for the people in the metaverse to ask us more questions. How do you feel about getting decks secondhand?
I don't have an issue with it. In fact, I've got a marvelous story I'll share. I have several decks.
Oh yeah, the Dolphins, Mario and Luigi. That's right.
That were given to me by a friend who was downsizing because she was moving and just couldn't take everything with her. One of them was a deck of round cards, and it's a women's tarot deck, and I can't remember the exact name. And I tried working with it, and it didn't work for me. And I had just set it aside with some of my other magical supplies, and I'd actually forgotten about it. And then when I started going through everything as we're preparing to move, I found it. And a friend of mine was over helping us move, or helping us pack and sort. And as she came in the door and I was holding that tarot deck, it quivered. And I told her, I think this deck is for you. And when I handed it to her, it quivered for her.
Wow.
So I had been holding that deck for her for about 3 years.
Nice.
So I think you are, and well, I'm going to say this with a caveat. You might be wise to clear the energy, but maybe not. It depends on who gives you the deck.
Exactly. Yeah.
You may not want to. If you, Fluffy's mentioning donating them to an annual pagan yard sale. If I bought a used deck in the yard sale, I would clear the energy.
The only two decks that I have never cleared the energy from are two decks that my mother had been holding on to from a family friend until my mom got a message from the ancestors that it was time for her to go dig them out and give them to me.
Yes.
Right? Those have never, I don't bring those on screen. I don't read for other people with them. They're for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I want to talk to her, I did a reading with those cards right before I proposed to Jay, because I was getting nervous feet, not cold feet, but just nervous feet. So it's how I talk to her, is through cards.
I'm picturing you with twitchy feet.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with buying a used tarot deck because the deck is the deck.
Person. For me, it depends on the person. It also depends on. Okay, so if a deck is mass produced and still available, I also like to look for rare decks that are out of print, just because.
Mm-hmm.
How long can a deck hold?
Energy.
These cards. So the person I got these cards from, she has been deceased since 2003. The cards came into my possession last year, and it was like she was holding them yesterday. So, to answer your question, Fluffy, the card, as long as you don't tap it out or dismiss it, I think their energy to the cards is infinite. But that's my own feelings.
And I'll just add that I think it's going to depend on how much energy the previous owner put into the deck. If it's someone who worked with that deck a lot, then it
also came in a bag that she made.
Oh yeah.
So, and she was not a very good sewer, so it's a bit rough. The person, remember when we first met, Mary, I told you that I thought I had seen a ghost?
Yes.
It's her. They're her.
Okay.
So
all
yeah,
right. Well, then he came by to say hi.
Yeah. I believe her cards are infinite. The energy is infinite, depending on, like you said, how, like, and that's the only deck she owned. She wasn't as into tarot as I am, enough to have several, but the decks that she really liked, that was it.
And okay. And so, yeah, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with getting a used tarot deck.
Oh, no. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have as many as I did if I just bought them mass market.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, does anybody else have a question for us?
I'm hoping Mary will bring me back in June so I can show off all my Pride decks in June.
Well, we will definitely have to make that happen in June.
I have several.
All right. Well, we will bring you and your Pride decks back in June.
We need to answer Fluffy's question before we go. This is a very important one to me.
What about using tarot card apps on the phone?
So as a tech witch, that's what I call it, And it's living in New York City. I do a lot of my morning uh, divination and my morning ritual on mass transit. So, yes, I have an app that I use, the Mystic Mondays app, and I actually log everything. And it gives me the ability to like pull a card and meditate with it on the subway and not sit there doing this, which will surely get you robbed or worse. So I think tarot apps are great and it allows for various accessibility, versatility, and access because even people who are visually impaired, the screen readers on your cards, they can be read. Um, and it allows you to just keep track of your cards so you don't. I always look for patterns. So that's my thing. That's why I like it.
Yes, and I will add that on the old Daily Spell website, at one point, there was a tarot card app that would give you a I know I did 3 and 5 card spreads on it that worked very well. And we will do a reading for Brenda before we wrap up for the night.
Unfortunately, Michael, after the show, I need to go because I have to get ready for work tomorrow. But I know I owe you a message. So you can always just drop your various questions into my DMs. That's fine. Us poor working folk.
Okay, so I'm doing repeats tonight. I got the 2 of Wands, which means in this case, you're thinking about what options you've got. I've got the 4 of Pentacles, and this means material prosperity, and I've got the Body. And what this card means is you need to think about your options in this situation, and you need to consider closely what you need to be doing.
All good?
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
So I pulled the Knight of Cups, which if you look on the card, it says fertility tonic. I also pulled Strength and the 10 of Coins. So I'm not taking this fertility tonic as like you're going to be making more babies, but someone in your life is making babies and you're going to be helping support them in their journey. Whether that be materialistically, like with money, or with just material items and gain and supplies. It sounds like someone is in need of like a mutual aid situation in your life that you're not quite sure how to help them.
All right. Well, we are coming up on the top of the hour. So I think you're welcome, Brenda. Hope that helped. You're welcome, Fluffy.
No problem,
So
Fluffy.
I want to thank everyone for joining us. Brian, thank you for being my guest. And we will definitely bring you back in June for Pride Month.
Yay.
So everyone, have a great rest of your evening. And until I see you again, blessed be.